Trump's Brazil tariff threat is part of a bigger geopolitical dispute, and he's trying to find a way. Rob, if you got a clip on this one, if you want to pull it up, I think you do. If you can go to it. This is about the Brazil thing on page 7. So let me read this to you, because this is when it's getting tricky. But I like what he's doing. Go for it, Rob.
Maybe at some point I'll talk to him. Right now I'm not. They're treating President Bolsonaro very unfairly. He's a good man. You know, I know him well. I negotiated with him. He was a very tough negotiator, and I can tell you he was a very honest man, and he loved the people of Brazil. He was a very tough guy to negotiate with. I shouldn't like him because he was very tough in negotiation, but he was also very honest. And I know the honest ones, and I know the crooked ones.
Pause right there. So President Trump threatened a 50% tariff on Brazil, driven by his support for Bolsonaro and frustration with Brazil rolling BRICS. A coalition, which he views as a threat due to its push for a reserve currency alternative to the U.S. dollar. Trump wrote on Truth Social, "This is nothing more or less than an attack on political opponents, something I know a lot about," and accused Brazil of issuing hundreds of secret and unlawful censorship orders on U.S. social media platforms. The decision followed by BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro, which Mauricio Clever-Colón, a close ally of the Secretary Marco Rubio and Trump's former special envoy Latin, said tipped the scale. And obviously, while this is going on, there's a bunch of other decisions being made with New York Times even came out on a story talking about behind Trump's decision to tax Brazil, José Bolsonaro. Eduardo Bolsonaro, his son, good guy, 41 years old. He's a sitting Brazilian congressman and son of Bolsonaro, has been lobbying U.S. officials, claiming the Brazil Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes, not a good guy, is targeting him and his father for fighting a stolen election, prompting Trump to post online, "This is nothing more or less than an attack on a political opponent," something I know a lot about, which happens to me times 10. And so they're driving this. Now, obviously, Trump's decision to impose tariffs, described by Steve Bannon as "I love it," and a more move even he hadn't considered was made alone, according to two people familiar with the private meeting, with Bannon stating, "If you drop the trial and drop the charges, the tariffs go away." Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Both the New York Times and Politico, want to call it tariffs because they could point at the president. Well, screw you both. Screw you both, Politico and New York Times, because you know the word you should be using here? You should be using 3 words: economic sanctions and leadership. When around the world countries behave badly, the United States has shown up with these 2 words, economic sanctions, and it's because of leadership. And that's exactly what the president is doing here. Oh, more tariffs going to create problems, more tariffs. The tariff is merely a tool of the economic sanction, and tariffs have been part of economic sanctions forever. There's 2 big things in your arsenal you can use. You can use a blockade, and you can use tariffs, which cuts off oxygen to the economy of the party that's offending. Like when, Iraq invades Kuwait, and you're like, okay, man, we're going to come in and save them, or we're going to, have a blockade here. This is not going to end well for you, dude. We're taking economic sanctions. And so the president, in the name of free elections and in the name of thwarting the false, phony monkey trial and false imprisonment of Bolsonaro, is trying to get their opinion. And let me tell you, it's not going to take much because he's about to get their opinion. The other thing is they're trying to line up with there's a very interesting thing in BRICS, and it's right in the middle of BRICS, and it's the I for India. India's trying to play nice on one hand. On the other hand, they're part of BRICS. And so South Africa is South Africa. I said, but Brazil, they're getting their attention. He's getting their attention. But this is economic sanctions. This isn't tariffs. Tariff is just a tool. He's going after it, and he's trying to do this in the name of freedom, in the name of free elections, in the name of
question is it going to work? That's the question. Will it work or will it not work? Well, are the Brazilian people going to do anything about it? Is Alexandre de Moraes really going to give a shit about the 50%? The number that came out with the story that you see combined with the story, and Adam, I'm going to come to you. Coffee prices climb after Trump threatens 50% tariff on Brazil. And so that the economy is going to take a hit with that. Buyers are going to feel it. The 50% tariffs, the world's biggest coffee producer, starting August 1st, as stated in a letter posted on Truth Social on Wednesday, accusing Brazil government of attacking free speech. Arabica coffee prices in New York climbed more than 3.5% on Thursday morning, later settled around 2.5% higher, with a trader noting the letter is sending shockwaves across the coffee industry due to U.S.'s Brazil main coffee buyer. Giuseppe Lavazza, chair of Lavazza Group, which owns Lavazza Coffee, warned on Wednesday before Trump's Brazil tariff threat, the tariffs between the U.S. and coffee-producing countries like Brazil and Vietnam would be challenging, stating the problem is to have tariffs between U.S. and Brazil, U.S. and Vietnam, U.S. and all other countries where coffee is produced, predicting a rise in the cost of coffee in the U.S. by approximately 34%. So we'll see what's going to happen with this one here. Adam, your thoughts on this, exchange with Brazil?
So I actually have a question for you, why you're been so focused on Brazil. Because born and raised in Miami, I have a lot of Brazilian friends. When I think of Brazil, I think of three things: soccer, beautiful samba beats, and massive corruption. Massive corruption. Everyone I know who goes to Brazil, they're like, oh, you got to be careful. You got to have security. Be careful from the favelas. If you go to the beach, it's incredible. And you know what? Just never been a thing on my thing. I don't focus on Brazil at all. But I've learned from you when you sat down with Jair Bolsonaro, when you had an entire Brazilian panel on it. Why is it so important to you? Because there's multiple countries in Latin America. We hopefully keep them from going the way of El Salvador or Mexico or Guatemala, these countries that are coming here. Lula, socialist. We've seen what's going on there. Jair Bolsonaro has been called Trump of the tropics. I want to understand why Brazil has been so important to you on this program.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I named my daughter after Ayrton Senna. This morning I'm walking in a community. This lady who's a worker in the community, I noticed she pulls up the car and she parks right in front of me and she keeps driving in front of me. And I'm like, whoa. So then all of a sudden my paranoid radar is like, okay, something's about to happen. So I'm ready now. I don't know who's in the car. Then she gets out of the car. Then she starts walking up to me. I'm like, okay, at least she's got a smile on her face. Probably in her mid to late 40s. And I said, hi. She says, hi. She said, I just want to tell you, we really appreciate what you're doing for Brazil. This is this morning at 6:37 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, I said, oh, thanks. She said, my son never misses a single show that you do. He watches everything. And I said, well, thank you. And I said about Jair Bolsonaro, Eduardo, all this stuff. She said, I watch all of them. We appreciate what you got going on for Brazil. I told her about my son, my daughter being named Senna. I love Brazilians. They're such incredible people. I enjoy their company. They're loud, they're funny, they're fun. They're good to be around. The food, the jokes, the sarcasm, the soccer, the racing, the history. It's a great experience. And it's another place that when shitty politics get a hold of a great country, they destroy a great nation. As a kid, when you grow up, in Iran, the number one sport in the world was football in Iran. You followed everything with soccer. You always knew the names. You knew Pele. The other day, Dylan had a meeting with the former captain of the Brazilian national team, Emerson. Emerson, I don't know if you type in Emerson, Brazil soccer, he's a legend. And Emerson spent a few hours with Dylan, and he's grabbing Dylan's calves, and he's like, he's got soccer legs. He's got soccer legs. Yeah, Emerson, OG Emerson, old school Emerson. Just type in Emerson, Brazil captain. Captain, if you tap in, it should come up. That's the one right there. Yeah, this guy was a G. I mean, he was a legend in what he did, winning multiple World Cups, I believe, when he was out there. Maybe one or two. He won a couple of them.
You said that when you went to Brazil and you did the interview. Brasilia. You describe that city and like the communist background of that city.
They build it in such a communistic way where everything looks the same. And they build it away from everything. So if they ever want to protest to go to the government, it's so far that nobody wants to go to it.
Weird.
It's not a place you want to. Vinny, did you go with us?
I didn't go.
Did you go with us? Who went with us when we went there?
No.
Well, let me tell you, man. While we're at the airport coming back, you're telling the story. We're waiting 12 hours at the airport. Rob, you were there, right?
Estras was there.
12 hours we're waiting at the airport to leave. And we have a direct flight to Miami. Last minute, people are worried about what's going on. We just ended up flying to Peru.
Really?
We ended up flying to Peru, and then we flew from Peru to here because it was, we have security with us. The security's waiting with. It was a very weird place to be. But the people, phenomenal. The food, ridiculous. We went to this one joint we ate. I can't wait to go back. Except I'd like to go back when Brazil is free again not held hostage by this guy named Alexandre
I have
de
one more
Moraes.
question for you on this. We consistently see certain countries in Latin America that no matter what, keep going back to socialist policies. Like you see what happened in some of the numbers that have come out of Argentina lately with what's our friend's name over there? Javier Milei, afuera, about how he's basically reversed sort of the unemployment, the inflation, all the economic numbers, the housing, everything like that, what he's been able to do in Argentina. Why consistently in some countries, in Latin America specifically, do they keep going back to this BS socialist policies?
I'll keep it simple, and I'll go to my next story that has to do with this. Because manipulating, brainwashing, and owning the poor is a great business model that they use everywhere around the world, and they're easy to control because you use the most magical four-letter word that starts with the letter F, and it's so effective. There is no more powerful word to own a group of people than dropping that F-bomb. Free. We're going to give you free programs, free healthcare, free food. Oh, my God. That F word gets a hold of everybody, and it brings the worst people in power and destroys an entire nation. And this is the one that you're talking about with numbers that we saw. On December 10th of 2023, Milei becomes the first libertarian president. The leftists freak out. 1.5 years later, this is what the numbers look like. Brought monthly inflation down from 25.5% to 1.5%, a 5-year low. Brought the poverty rate down to an estimated 33.7%, 6-year low. Scrapped rent controls, resulting in a 40% decrease in rent prices in Buenos Aires. Achieved Argentina's first budget surplus in 14 years. Delivered 7.6% year-over-year GDP growth in Q2 of 2025. And guess who is trying to do all the policies that he fixed in New York City? A guy named Mamdani. The future looks bright hats that are the ones that never stay on the shelves, and you guys ask for more of this style, is the future looks bright, where the phrase is on the flipping hat. This is now, these hats, when you see these letters coming out, they don't stay a long time. And these new ones that we have, the black is a navy blue.
That's navy blue.
And white typography. It is absolutely sick. They're not numbered. Well, we didn't order a big supply of them. We ordered a limited supply of them, so it's going to be a first come, first serve. It'll go out. We got the Miami color one. The future looks bright. This one's absolutely sick. When you look at this on the inside of it, Rob, if you can show what that looks like. Right there on the back end, yeah. And then we have another one that's the gray and future looks bright with the American flag. And then obviously those of you that, the community that is just obsessed with the black on black on black, this is the black on black on black, future looks bright.
Well, give me the gray.
Lot of black.
Vinny,
Lot of
We
black.
call this the Chicago special.
no, Vinny, give me the gray one.
Yeah, the black on black on
All
black.
right, thanks. Mine now.
Yeah, the black on black is absolutely sick. But any one of these. So if you're someone that hasn't yet gotten the future looks bright with the phrase on top of it, go get one for yourself. Get it as a gift. Send it to someone. Make someone's day. Buy it for your sales team. Buy it for your office. We are over 300,000 people now representing Future Looks Bright worldwide, and we're 700,000 away from crossing 1 million.